Hey, VOD viewers. Gives a moment. Alright. I don't know how I feel about this whole YouTube music thing. It just seems like a much worse version of YouTube. Like, even the audio control, for some reason, has, like, steps, even though it's a digital control. Like, why could I not do minute changes with, like, a scroll wheel? It just seems worse than regular YouTube for this stuff. Also, it doesn't seem to do audio, it's like sound normalization. Maybe there's a plugin for that. Firefox, YouTube, music, normalize, audio, equalizer. Add reviews. Ends with a periodic crackling sound. Oh. Stable volume toggle in the video player options. Well, this is a YouTube music thing, so maybe it doesn't have that as a setting. I don't know. Whatever. Yesterday, VOD viewers, we implemented a star. So we can run over here, and you see the mice will path around this object, and I go up here, they'll path around. Very cool, right? So I'm just going to do a quick bit of cleanup with that. Off stream, I fixed the thing where we were defaulting to navigation area 0, which would mean that if we're in level generation, the main area was 0, then that would share it with the walls, which don't have a navigation area. So when you'd stand on a wall, the game would lag the fuck out, because the mice would think that you're in the same area. But it's non-traversable, so they'd never find a path. So I fixed that by just starting at navigation area 1. So we can now bring back the enemy AI that we had before. It's quite cool, right? And then we can start working on some other stuff. So obviously right now I've turned on this like noclip thing. I'm thinking I might just turn that into a component, because it would be pretty handy to be able to toggle that on and off, right? So I'm going to start with that, actually. We just got a little bit of cleanup to do. So I'm going to have a component somewhere near collision, I'm going to say, struct no clip. And in, let's say, somewhere we're defining console commands, right? Don't remember where we're doing that. Game, maybe? We're putting them in the registry, at least. This stuff. Do we just have a component for, like, CVARs? CVARs. Here we go. So I'm going to have one for, player no clip. That'll be false. And we'll come down here to the player section, and I will add a button somewhere. Actually, want to call it this. Hmm. Are we already doing like a null check here? I'm gonna move this under the button just so it updates eventually when the player becomes not null. Oh, this isn't how this should work. Maybe I should have a replace or in place template somewhere where you can pass in a boolean and it will decide if it wants to replace or remove. I don't know. This feels like a pattern I do a lot. Hello, Waffle. How are you? Maybe I should move this stuff up here. If there's no player entity, there's not really much point in having all of these checks. Doing well, you? Not too bad. I have a mild headache. I don't know why. But I've got a couple hours day to do game dev, so I'm excited. I was going to do a little cleanup. We were doing A-star pathing yesterday. Hey TF Serio. I'm just going to do a little cleanup today, and then see if we can get started on making a rocket launcher. I want to try and make destructible levels now that we have a pathing system that can accommodate that. And I was just very quickly doing a little cleanup. As part of experimenting, I disabled collision on the player with the walls, and I thought that would be handy to just have as a component, so have a look at my physics system. I've just extracted that here, I think. I did this last night, mind you. Here we go. So we do a try get on the entity. The entity doesn't have noclip, then we'll calculate collisions. So there we go. We should hopefully be able to toggle on and off noclip. What engine are we using? We're not using an engine, but I am using a framework made by someone in my chat called Donut, called libdonut, which has some nice wrappers around SDL2 and a couple of other libraries, and it's got some templatey code, like it's got a loop, it's got display draw. Oh, sorry, it's got display tick update written for me, and the structs for the data involved in those loops, and it's got some drawing code written for me, so that's nice. But otherwise, this is just pure C++. All right, let's see. What have I fucked up? Set already contains entity. Oh, I shouldn't be using that then. I guess I used the wrong function. It's not in place. It should be try in place, I guess. In place or replace. Yeah. Let's see. So we log onto the walls. No clip. We can walk through walls. Isn't that nice? Just having a button for that. That's actually interesting how it, even if you get forced onto a rock, the moment I move, it immediately like finds a way to clip you out of it. That's nice. Good old physics engine. You're working on your own little engine. You really like rendering 3D scenes as pixel art. Ooh, that's cool. I'm a massive fan of the style of using pixel art as like your texture. I've always wanted to make a game like that. It didn't used to be terribly popular, but nowadays it's not uncommon to see. A lot of those like boomer shooter likes use that style. But what do you mean rendering 3D scenes as pixel art? Do you mean like low resolution or what? Let's see. Let's make this nice and obvious, right? Whatever. Let's just do it like this. There's a little bit of debug code. Doesn't need to be terribly fancy. This is fine. I guess it wants to const char pointer. You can render the entire 3D scene to a low resolution frame buffer and scale it up using nearest to fit the screen. That basically makes it look like pixel art game, even though it's not. Oh, okay. I mean, that's not that dissimilar to what I'm doing. Like, the game internally is running at, like, you know, 1400, 144 by 240 resolution or whatever. I don't remember the resolution. 240 by 140, whatever. But then when we're scaling up, we're using nearest neighbor integer scaling, and then scaling, when we draw, scaling up by that factor. But everything internally is actually, like, quite a low resolution. But it lets you do this stuff like this perfect rotation on the gun. You see how it's like very smooth and it doesn't get crunchy on the edges? If I make the screen actual resolution by scaling it way down, this is the true resolution of the game. You can see it gets a little crunchier. But then by maxing out my screen, nice and smooth. Are you doing something a bit like that but with 3D? Here we go. Hello, K9. Is the coding wizard still fighting with uncooperative code? No, not at all. I've just added a button to turn on noclip. Which is handy. Now I'm just going through my to-do list that I wrote hastily at the end of last stream. Where did I pop that? Was it in level generator? No. I should probably be putting this stuff in readme.txt. Maybe I should do that now before I forget. It's an action responder system. Of course it is. Let's just grab this shit and put it into readme.txt. Whoops. That's not it. To do. Sorry. To do. Here we go. You are rendering a 2D scene. You mean rendering 3D and making it look like pixel art? Yeah, I get that. But I mean, the idea is similar, right? Like, you're rendering 3D to a really small resolution. So, instead of having, like, a smooth, lovely anti-alias line, you'll end up having this sort of stepped look. And then when you scale it up, it looks like pixel art. Like, if you draw something at your full resolution, your line will look like this. But if you draw it at low resolution and then scale it up, it will look more like this, right? Which is, I would have said, is quite similar behavior to what I'm doing here. You're drawing triangles, and I'm drawing. Or you're drawing, you know, quads, and I'm drawing some sprites in a screen. But the idea is kind of similar, right? I mean, I'm literally drawing stuff as squares. You're drawing them, I'm guessing, as points on a vector or whatever. But it's nice. That's a cool idea. I like that. I'm a big fan of that sort of thing. It's actually the opposite of the effect I want when I'm playing. If I play like Wind Waker Randomizer in Dolphin Engine, you can internally run that at like 16K resolution, and then you downscale it on your GPU to fit on your screen. And because the internal resolution is so high, you get these beautifully crisp lines without using actual anti-aliasing, like the AA algorithm that you'd normally use, FXAA or whatever. Or the nice one that we don't use anymore. I can't remember what it's called. We used to have a pretty good... What was it? The one that like every old game used to have for anti-aliasing. It didn't perform this weird blur that we get with TS, the time-based anti-aliasing, or the blur with FXAA or whatever. There was the old one we used to use. I can't remember what it's called. Whatever. Because it was basically like a brute force thing, right? So it was a bit slow on old machines, but newer machines can run it decently. And I prefer how it looked to that weird shimmer we get now. Anyway, Source Engine used it heavily, I remember. Anywho, so let's see. These are my to-do lists. Let's quickly add a maximum distance check to the A-star algorithm. So that will be an enemy system for now, and it will be in a star function. Here, right now, there's nothing stopping you from having an insanely big distance, and then it calculates it correctly, but the game lags for like a hot minute, which you don't want. And there's a few ways we can do this. We can make the algorithm itself cut off when the frontier is too big or if the distance is too large, or when we feed into the algorithm, we can ensure that the player isn't too far away. The player isn't too far away thing doesn't really work, because if you had a wall that was like infinitely wide and the player's here and the enemy's here, that distance check wouldn't work, because it would still have to go all the way around the wall and find you. So I think it's best to actually just limit how long the algorithm can go. That makes sense. That's what I'm going to try and do. I need to think about how I'm going to do that, though. I could just keep a counter... and if it gets too large, or maybe I could change the while loop to a early breaking while loop or something. You discovered Ren today. Think about ditching Lua for it. I don't know a lot about these scripting languages. I know that a lot of games use them for like modding. Like I think if you write stuff for like Binding of Isaac mods, you use Lua. Is it interpreted? It's a bit like Python, but I've never used it. I don't know the upsides or downsides of them. People were talking about it yesterday in stream. But I wish this music was normalized. YouTube is not a viable platform for this stuff. I have to constantly toggle, and I can't just scroll wheel like I can on the regular YouTube. I have to actually find the UI element. Anyway, while frontier isn't empty, pop for every step with cost in the neighbor, we add it to the thing if it has collision. Push estimated costs. When we get to the end of the loop. Path, previous distance, stuff. Previous destination. Okay, so really, it's here. I want to limit this. I'm just gonna lazily do this for now, just to experiment. I'm just gonna say in you in 16t, whatever. Max path size equals, let's just say 10, something small that we can test. Let's even say make it even smaller, say it's 5. And we're just gonna say frontier.push. If can we say frontier dot? Is that, do I want to use frontier? Or previous position? No, I want to use previous position because we pop frontier. That's correct. This should break the for loop. I don't really think that helps. Let me think. I mean, we can quite easily just say, just to be super lazy, we can just say return from loop early. Just something super lazy, right? While this isn't empty, and don't break from return from loop early. Just something, again, super lazy, just experiment and see. How will this look? I'm thinking it's just going to come up with a short path and go to the end of it. I'm hoping. But let's see. Let's see. So he's more than 5 blocks away, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish. If I get closer, do you find your way? No, that doesn't quite work, does it? Possible 5 is not, like, this is not the right way to work this out. If I make this a bigger number. Am I incrementing it? Oh, hang on, I might not be incrementing it. Max path. Oh no, I am. I'm not incrementing anything. That's fine. Right, this is clearly not working the way I wanted to. You like about Ren that it's working with classes because you want to. Oh, interesting. Because you want to turn your project into a high school course. It'll be called Java scripting language that's close to Java, C++, and C#. That's interesting. I don't know why they're moving sometimes. This isn't working, clearly. They've never had a goal cost sign. Let's check this. The previous position is this much stuff. Maybe 10's just not... What happens here? Construct a path. Oh. Obviously, destination's not in there. There's no destination in there, so it just never paths. That makes complete sense. What we need to do is find a way to partially... Either we partially route, or we return an option. We return something from this function that says, like, path too long. And then, you know, like, we use an optional, we use a different algorithm. What's a good way to do this? I mean, maybe it's okay for them to still... It might be inefficient. Like, they might not be going down the perfect path. Maybe it's okay for them to just sort of do these little inches. Indeed, like, they might never find their way to the player this way, but at least they're still moving. There's a few ways to do this. Because the idea, right, is if the enemy... The player's like here and the enemy's here and there's like this big maze in between them. The player, like the true path to the player might eventually be this. Or whatever, something really complicated. Like this. But the heuristic might not know that yet. So at this point, if we stop after 5, it might end up going this way. Which might never get to the player. It might end up in here, for example. Because it wouldn't have had enough time to check all the routes. Obviously, this can be modified by extending the maximum path size. Really, it should be to stop you from going on this like infinite wall thing, where you're here and the enemy's there, and they spend like 2,000 cycles trying to work out where you are. Ideally, they just go a little bit in some direction. Because if they're that far away in reality, do you really care if they're pathing to you or not? I don't know. It's to stop lag spikes, mostly. It's an early escape. I think it's... Because the alternative, right, obviously we can just make them walk straight at the player, in which case they'll just follow you along this wall. Which is what some games do, right? If they can't path towards you in a realistic amount of time, they just move at you. Which can work sometimes, but it will make them look like they're getting stuck a bit more often than they should. Hello, Ben Chilling. My ice cream. How are you? Or is that actually your name? In which case, hello. What's all this? Let me think. We want to essentially... Great, how about you? Not too bad, thank you. We're just... Yesterday we worked on our A-star algorithm for pathing, and today I'm just doing a couple of small optimizations to clean up before we move on. I'm just adding a maximum size for them to check, because if you go particularly far away, the enemies will path to you. But if you go really, really, really far away, this adds up for every enemy doing this path, and it gets a little expensive. One of the solutions, obviously, is to say if they're that far away, just don't run the algorithm as often. But for now, I'm adding an actual max, because I think there should be some kind of max. They shouldn't look for a path 20 million blocks away. That would be ridiculous. Let's see. So destination right now is a const spec. I'd actually like to make the destination something we can modify. So I'm just going to say... I think you can do shadowing like this in this language, no? Redefinition. Do they not like shadowing in C++, maybe? Maybe not. I was hoping that we could shadow. Some languages are quite happy with this. I'm going to say... Start position, let's say end position. Oh, this is still in anonymous namespace, that's fine. We're just going to have our destination, and we're going to have it be mutable. So, when we want to return from the loop early, instead of using this return from loop early thing, we can say destination is now just the furthest point we've reached. So, I think that's just position. Maybe. I hope that works. The idea being that, okay, fine, we break from that loop and then we come in. Hey, Linley. You can use checkpoints. There's all sorts we can do. I've discussed the other day about all these fun optimizations we could do in the future. Where we've got like this rather large procedurally generated level. And, you know, we've already got like a tile system. We've already got like grids and tiles and all sorts. You can... At level start, we're generating these things that we're calling navigation areas to discern connected areas from unconnected areas. We basically just perform a flood fill. And that's already a nice optimization, so we don't bother pathing on things that are non-traversable. But obviously what we could do is actually construct some sort of nav mesh at some point and pre-calculate some of these checkpoints. We can say, oh, if the player's down here and the enemy's up here, we don't need to constantly path towards the player. We can just path towards this checkpoint along like a pre-calculated route. This is an over-optimization for the future, though. So for now, I'm not going to worry too much. I'm going to work on other stuff. But we have had thoughts about it. This is like a super rabbit hole, right? So you have to kind of choose where to stop. And I'm thinking that having a nice implementation of A-star with a couple of sensible limits is perfectly viable for this sort of fast arcadey game. It's not like a slow-paced thing where you're going to watch enemies travel across the level to you. The game's really low res. So I think this sort of thing should be fine. So let's see. We're setting some pretty small max path size. I'm going to go back to like 5. We do all our normal calculations, but if we've calculated, let's say 5 paths, let's say that's too many, the destination that we're going to eventually reach is actually where we are right now. I think that might not be correct. Position equals frontier.top position. Because here we're frontier pushing the neighbor. The destination should actually be neighbor, I guess. Maybe this is correct? Because we're now pushed onto the frontier, the neighbor, and then next time we come into the loop, we check to see if we're at the destination, and if so, we break, and then we move down. Destination is in the loop. I think this works. Have I tried simmed in general? What is simmed? You had to implement A-star for a uni course, but thank God that's over. Not over in your TA now. Oh, that was it, your teacher's assistant. Let's see. Okay, he's pathing to me. It's a pretty shit path, obviously. Not quite working. Yeah, I mean 5's way too small. Let's test with like a much bigger one. Let's test with like 50 or 20. Basically, my point is I'm going to make this number really big. So usually this will not happen. Usually the enemies will path, but there is the case where if I find like a nice big split in the map, if I turn on noclip, this guy will try and, if I go really fucking far away, some of those mice will try and path across the whole map to me. Because technically there is a traversable point to here from 1,000 blocks away over there. And I'd rather they didn't actually try and find it. You can see him doing an inefficient algorithm because he didn't have the time to actually check all the available places. But you can also see there's no lag spikes. The mice follow you for 15 seconds. So if I walk really far away, like really far away, those mice on the right side of the map are technically still moving towards us. But because they're only checking a maximum of 15 positions, it's not terribly expensive. It's as expensive to calculate them coming to us now as it was when we were close to them. But the downside is that they might never reach us, which I think in this game is fine. Here we go. But then obviously if you're close enough, they should be able to path. So if I set that number to something a bit more reasonable, let's say instead of 20, it's like 100 or even 200. Single input, multiple data. You do 16 additions, for example, in the time it takes to do mon. It's very good to use SOA, converting arrays of objects into one object where each field is an array of population equal to max entities. That's more of a data-driven approach, right? The game, as it is now... Oh, sorry, I should say, the game in the past, like in COVID when we were working on this, was very much a data-driven game. The one we're using now, we're using ECS. I don't know how easy it is to... Maybe that's perfect for ECS? I don't know how easy it is to implement that sort of thing. Let's see. They should be able to follow us for 200 blocks. So if I go quite far, let's say all the way over here, those mice should find us just fine. Okay. But if I now go like really, really, really far away, how much of a lag spike do we see? Getting a little slow, right? Not terrible. But still pretty slow. But if we wait here long enough, we should see them just slowly coming in off the side of the screen. You do 16 additions. It's very good at SOA. Converting an array of objects into one object where each field is an array of population equal to max entities. We don't have arrays of... Oh no, we do. Technically, I guess, when we're doing a view on the registry to... Oh, they're stuck, aren't they? When we do a view on the registry to, just to view all enemies to path, for example, we get an array at that point. I don't know how valid that is here, though. I think there's other optimizations we can do, like, if we have lots of mice moving at the player, we can set, like, one or a couple of them to be, like, a leader, and only the leader performs the expensive calculation towards the player. All the others then move towards, just in a basic algorithm, towards their leader, which is much shorter. You have a couple of entities doing this like 1,000 path long pathing algorithm, and then the rest of them doing like a 1 or 2 block pathing algorithm. But then, you have to come up with how you're gonna designate a leader, for example, and how you decide when you want to do that. This for now looks just about fine. So like in a reasonable gameplay scenario, they seem to be able to find you. And the enemies, by the way, should lose line of sight pretty quick. So this in reality is very unlikely. But this will do for now. Look, they'll still be able to find you. What I'm really going to do is make it so if they lose line of sight, they're going to move towards the last position they saw you, which will not be that far from them. So that should also help prevent this problem. We go over here. You can see them on the mini-map making their way over. Like, this is quite far away now. It's lagging a little bit. I think this 200 might even already be a little generous, but I think I won't worry too much about it. This is a number we can basically modify as if we're having problems with frame rate, for example. The player in reality will not have access to noclip, probably. and they should lose line of sight pretty quick. So I'm going to start bringing back some of the normal enemy AI. Social distancing algorithm, oh my god. Because we disabled it the other day. Let's see. Quite easily, just bring it back like this. Sometimes it's nice and easy to comment them out. So now they should shoot us again. And occasionally when they lose line of sight, they should stop pathing. Let's see. So here they are, they're shooting, they're moving, they're shooting. If we go behind a wall, they fail line of sight check a number of times. They're more likely to move than shoot. That's the idea. And what I want to do is make it so if the player is in line of sight, that they move directly at you without using A star. So when we're doing move to target, here we go. I'm going to store this. I'm going to say const is in line of sight is this. So just this. If they're in line of sight, I want to use the other pathing algorithm. So I'm just going to say is it line of sight. I can't remember what the other algorithm is called. Just linear or something? Line of sight. It should help a little bit. Hello, ATNM. A star. Where else are we using this? Just here. That's nice. There we go. That should help a little bit, because it means if they can see you, they'll move straight at you. Basically, it doesn't need to bother A starring if you're visible. He doesn't seem to be moving very much. Is that broken? Looks to me like that's broken a little bit. They're very likely to shoot because we're in line of sight, which is a little annoying. And then when we go out of line of sight, they try to A star towards you. I feel like this moving directly at you thing isn't working. Let me think. I think I just broke this loop, maybe? No, this is correct. Yeah, the idea here is they're more likely to shoot you if you're in line of sight. I think this is viable. Maybe you can hear the music, by the way. Let's see, move to target entity, line of sight. It should still be moving to position. I'd also say the way that we're doing the A star thing right now is a little stupid. We're recalculating it every time they have a thought, which is pretty expensive, and then we're only using the first element of that path to do the pathing. It's not a terrible idea to store it. But then again, recalculating it's not actually terribly expensive, so yeah. Why is this not working? Let's just make it so they always move towards you, first of all. Once they start moving, I don't want them shooting you. We can try and have a look at this. Oh dear. What happened with you? Yeah, he doesn't seem to be moving towards me. If I go behind a wall, that works. So there's something wrong with the line of sight check. I don't know what exactly. Let's have a think. So if we're doing line of sight check... Ah, this is incorrect. We're currently moving to our own position. We should be moving to the target's position by default. Easy. I should have called it my transform or something to be a lot more obvious. Yeah, look, now, if you're in line of sight, they kind of roughly move towards you in a janky way. Not janky, but like, they only update every like quarter of a second or something, and I want that for gameplay purposes, basically. I think when enemies look like they're moving directly at you, it always looks a little funny. So when they're moving a bit more haphazardly, it makes a bit more sense. And then they have a bit of fuzziness applied, so they're not all thinking at the exact same time. If we go behind a wall, you can see they start using a star. Isn't that cool? So look, they're pathing towards me like I'm carrying a bunch of balloons. And if I go behind a wall somewhere, path around. I think this is very nice. I don't know how to describe it. This feels very natural to me. But they path when they can't see you. But then when they can see you, being pushed around, they just move at you. I was going to say, I don't know what it is exactly about the A-star, but they seem to be able to push you through walls. I guess also, like, normally they could just push you through walls, so it's not an A-star explicit thing. It's because there's a lot of mice on you at once, and they're doing a lot of force. They're pushing with a lot of force. I don't really know a good way around that, because even if we just start, if we just like modify the numbers a bit, it just means even more mice will eventually push you through a wall. I don't really know if there's a super easy solution to this. Like I've just got wall clipping basically. I could add a max, I guess, to the knockback. That could probably help. Like you can't get pushed back more than a certain amount. Because obviously the problem is like you just build up an incredible amount of speed all of a sudden. It's kind of cool that it does work, right? That there is clipping. Thanks, Jared. Yeah, we were just reenacting some AI stuff. The traditional sense, like intelligence, behavior. Yeah, this works for me. Let's let them shoot you again. Here we go. I think this feels pretty nice. So I might just want to leave it there for now. Let's see. Add maximum distance check. We added no clip. Added shooting. We're making path straight at you. Store most recent viewed position when you lose line of sight. Let's have a think about that. We also wanted to add more randomness to their pathing, because right now when they do a star, they go in a straight line. So they get blocked, basically. If they all path around a wall, they're all actually following the same path to you. So they basically block each other, because they're all stuck on the center of those tiles. So adding a little fuzziness to where on the tile that they're targeting towards might be nice. And also, I think the fact that they all seem to be pathing towards the exact center adds like a really strong force, which is one of the reasons they push you through walls, I think. Because you have loads of things targeting exactly at a central point. But maybe that's too much for now. I kind of wanted to see if we could get working on some kind of explosive rocket launcher thing. What do you think? Well, what would you like to see, guys? Any interest? I can either try and add a little randomness to the pathing, or I can try and make a rocket launcher, which will cause its own problems, mind you. And the rocket launcher for now would probably just be the gun exploding walls, and then we'd implement a rocket launcher. Rockets are nifty, big booms. Okay. Yeah, fuck it. Let's make a rocket launcher. All right. This is our Uzi. Isn't it nice? I make a new sprite. Can you see a sprite? I think you can. Also, this will be a good example of trying to have a gun that's bigger than usual. Because right now, everything's been 16 by 16. By everything, I mean the one gun that's in the game. Let's get the Robot Girl Atlas. What libs do we use for rendering? Under the hood, it's using SDL 2. So ideally, the gun should look decent if the player's carrying it. What do I use for shared chats? I think it's just Streamlabs. Like, I'm using regular OBS, but I think it's just regular old Streamlabs that does it. Oh, I just had a thought. So by the way, all your guns right now, kind of, when they rotate around the player, they roughly sit within a sphere like this, and they shoot from the end. So the Uzi sort of stands like here. The rocket launcher could be huge, but maybe I can make it start in the player, but it still ends up being there. You're writing some SDL3 GPU API base code for the LD. Ludium Dare? What was it? Ludium Dare? The tournament? Challenge? What do you call it? Jam? Game jam? Ludium Dare? Something like that. Ludium Dare, yeah. That's awesome. I've never done a game jam, I think. I've drawn pixel art for someone for their game jam once or twice. I think 2 people. I've never participated in one. And by draw pixel art, I mean like nothing too fancy. I'm obviously not a pixel artist. I've tried my best. Anyway, rocket launcher. I'm gonna get some ideas up on the side. Let's see. Australian rocket launcher. Ideas. What's the word? References. I want something that could be recognizable in 2D. What about the TF2 ones? I mean, the original's pretty classic. Quakey. I like Quake. TF2 original. I don't know if I can draw an original in this game without it looking too much like a dick. This is someone's project to do an enhanced version, but maybe I can steal that a little bit. It's your weakest area in game dev. I mean, it's always a practice thing, right? And also like the amount of time you spend on it. Presumably you, like me, have spent most of your time doing programming, so art is at least like a secondary thing. But the more you do it, the better you get, right? I'm just going to pop this on the side so I can have a reference, basically. I just like how the original looks. Let's see. I'm just going to sketch it out badly at first, and then we'll see if we can make something a little better. I hope you can see the screen okay. I'm gonna like, I'm not gonna copy it perfectly. I just want like a rough approximation. Just something sketchy, you know? It's really hard to not make guns look penisy. There's something about them. I mean, this looks pretty powerful, right? Just as is. I make it like green or something. I don't know. Rocket launchers feel green to me. Just something rough. My hopeful idea is one day I get better at pixel art just from doing it a lot, and I can come back and redraw a bunch of this stuff that I've just sort of fucked around with. Because I'm just sort of... I just want to knock something up as a example, basically, for now. I think I should also redo my palette. I came up with this palette, and I've got all these dark, slightly off colors from black, because I don't actually want to use black, really. I feel like they're just not quite enough colors for me. It's very arbitrary to, like, pick your palette, right? Let's see. I'm going to have a section at the back like this, I think, actually. Do you guys do much just pixel art for, like, fun? Like, in your own times? I think maybe I should stick to some kind of rule of only having like 2 colors on each sprite, because I think adding that red immediately makes it a little busier. Maybe just having this limit of only two like shades, two hues might look nice. Also, I think, at least for me, I think I draw best with like some stupid restriction. Like, you know, only having a couple of colors. Otherwise, I think I get like choice blindness really quickly and I'll sit there forever fucking around. I also want to be very careful with white. White should basically, I think, in my eyes, only be used for like super specular highlights. Like the extremes of light. Because usually, obviously this is pixel art, but usually in real life, stuff isn't white. Like white stuff reflects the colors around it. So for something to actually be white, it needs to be like a really strong reflection. Like something really shiny, like a mirror. Strokes make your mind innovate stuff, yeah. I mean, having like small pixel art, if I was trying to draw this original on like a huge canvas, I'd really struggle, but because it's so small, like this, I think it's a lot easier. Yeah, the dark blue and the dark green are way too similar. I mean, I think on stream you probably can't even tell the difference between the dark green and the dark blue, right? This stuff's definitely getting compressed. I promise you they are different. Like, this is dark green, this is dark blue. You can probably see that, but like, in reality, why do I have both those colors in my palette? You can tell at least on the tubes. Okay. I mean, looks alright. It's okay. It's not the best rocket launcher. But it's alright. You can kind of tell. It's like a little penisy. Especially if... No, how do you not make it penisy? Oh, I mean the two spikes on the end. Dicks don't tend to have that. I don't know if the two spikes on the end really makes sense. I guess more of an arrow might work. It looks alright. I just want something that I can launch rockets out of, basically. By the way, this is going to rotate, so maybe having it colored on one side is going to look jank. I'm also thinking I might implement like a color, like a lighting shader at some point. Like some really basic normal maps on stuff and make the player glow inherently. So when you walk around, sprites look a little less flat. I'm actually quite a big fan of pixel art games with beautiful shaders like Terraria. I know some people are not a massive fan, but I'm me. It's me game. I might have gone too far here. Whatever. I should stop. How about that? Whatever. Good enough, innit? Not bad. Not bad. And also, look, if the player... If I make a new layer, I put the player on the layer M? Yeah. What do you mean? I cannot modify the sprite. If I put them on top of each other... like this, how stupid does that look? I want to rotate. How do I change the position? Or maybe just rotate around like this. This is not how I rotate in the game, but it kind of works, doesn't it? I'll do it. I'll leave it. I think this is nice. Let's see. Canvas size 32 by 16. Come on. Ah, shite. It's cut off the bottom. Aye. Delete layer. I'm certainly not the fastest user of this program, that's for sure. Oh, I should check that it's on the same height as the Uzi. basically want the bullets to come out of the same hole. If that makes sense. Canvas size, top left, 32 by 16. Bam, easy. We made a rocket launcher, guys. How cool. You think it's cool? Hell yeah. Export as weapons, rocket launcher. And I should also probably draw a rocket. Do we not have like a bullets? We had like a bullets thing. Oh, we're not really yet. For now, the rocket can just reuse some random bullet. I don't care. We'll come up with a better sprite later. I don't think we need to save this as an A sprite file, but sure. I'll probably clean all this up at some point. Can you make the rockets pointy? Do whatever. Also, like, you can see how like I've taken inspiration from the original, but like, you look at it and you wouldn't look at this and think he's just stolen the idea, right? You get me? I think this is how you're meant to do like art inspirations. Like, I looked at it for reference to get proportions and stuff, but it's clearly like it's not the same thing, I guess. Good boy. Alright, epic. Asset manager. We're going to need to do quite a bit of refactoring. That's partially why I chose to do the rocket launcher. A, we now have a second gun. B, the gun is bigger than the previous one, so we now need to extract the origin to like some sheet somewhere. C, it's going to have different bullet types and stuff. There's all sorts we need to do. You're doing a code review for your junior as we speak. Oh yeah, how have they done? How have they done? Give us, spill the tea. Let's see, rocket launcher. Where have I done the Uzi thing? Here we go. Uzi. Our system, by the way, does allow for animated sprites. I just haven't done any. Rocket launcher. I think this sort of stuff could be extracted to a JSON file, is basically what I was saying. Was it 32 by 16? Then again, I imagine most of my guns will fit within a particular pattern, 16 or 32. So maybe just simplifying things to say it's a wide gun or it's a small gun, so the origin is here or there. Maybe that's okay, I don't know. Because I'm hesitant to over-optimize. Well, we'll see. Eventually the game's probably going to have like 200 guns or something, and, you know, the less duplication, the better. I want to make a new gun as simple as just drawing the sprite and plopping it in and maybe adding a new bullet or something. It wasn't a big feature to implement, just a simple API input to call for your AI agent to call, but it's the first time using Rust. Junior using Rust, dude. Rust and AI? How the fuck does that work? Those feel very conflicting. Like, that feels like something you want like a super senior guy to be looking at, because it's so, what can be complicated. Maybe your project's not so complicated. Let's see. We've got a rocket launcher. When are we using this Uzi? Right now, the predicted firing weapon just is an Uzi. So for now, I'm going to see what happens if I just emplace that as a rocket launcher. Origin... I think the origin will be immediately incorrect. So I'm just trying to work out what I need to extract. How does this look just by default? With no other changes. We've just dropped replacing in the Uzi for the rocket launcher. Rust isn't running any AI, it's just a WebSocket backend that monitors and manages real-time AI calls and provides the models with tools to call so it can do things. Okay. It's an A... Well, it's not... Oh, look, actually, it does... Yeah, so as I was right, the offset is just using the... It's just using the... Looks a little lewd. It's using the offset for the Uzi, so it's sticking out a bit. We obviously don't want that. But it does look cool. If instead of origin minus 0.25, let's say we want plus 0.25, that is a quarter into the sprite. Quarter into a tile. How does that look? Yeah, this is more what I was thinking. And then we shoot a rocket out of there. And you want the rocket launch to be like this big thing, right? You want it to be like this big chunky thing. Obviously, it's not going to shoot Uzi bullets, but you get the idea. Right. There's something very funny about shooting rockets out of an, like pistol bullets out of a rocket launcher. Okay. For now, I'm just going to have this calculated. So we've got a sprite here. If sprite dot idle dot hello. Aye. I thought there was a way to get the width of a sprite. Because I was basically just going to say if it's 32 by 32, then use this origin. If it's 16, use this origin. I thought that was a thing we could do. Is that not correct? What width, maybe? Height? At this point, maybe it's easier to just extract that. I kind of thought, because we're constructing it in the asset manager here, I thought maybe we'd store that somewhere. Load animation from row. Maybe not. Ah, this shit was a lot of work. I forgot about all this. I guess we don't actually store it anywhere. Yeah, sequence doesn't store the metadata about the image. That's fine. Hello, Joanna. Now, what are we doing this time? I'm making a rocket launcher. It failed to compile. Okay, what have I done this time? We're making a rocket launcher. Take me to where I was. Thanks. Here we go. Basically, I was trying to see if I could programmatically define the origin based on the width of the sprite, but it seems like we are not drawing that. I guess maybe does the sprite instance have that? Sprite, position, scale, origin. Sprite ID. This doesn't have a size, I think. We could get frame. We get a sprite ID. Still not useful. Alright. Whatever. That's fine. Maybe I should make a new JSON file for this stuff. Currently we don't have that. I think even the player character, they have the weapon shot stuff is actually tied to the player right now. So we should extract this to a weapon JSON, I guess. Stretches. So let's call this weapon.json. I don't think we need to bother with this UID stuff, but I think I was stupid. Name, Uzi. And we don't need most of this stuff. We're gonna need a sprite file path. Maybe the enemy would have been an easier thing to copy. Let's do this. Uzi. Sprite file path, weapons. Uzi. You are 16 by 16. Your frame rate is 1. Your frame count is 1. You don't have a collision radius. You don't have health. You don't have lives. This is the stuff. I think I will keep mass. I talked about this before. I think weapons having mass is kind of sick. Because the idea could be that like a weapon's really heavy and it's slow to move around. To encourage you to use both heavy and light weapons instead of just heavy weapons. But it's also possible it might be annoying from a gameplay perspective, so just something to experiment with. I like the idea of you keep an Uzi with your rocket launcher, so you pull out an Uzi really quick and you can aim it, and then when the enemies are further away, you can go, you know. But yeah, it might also be annoying. We'd have to see. I'm gonna want a sprite width, sprite height, and we'll just have origin as an extra thing. X offset, X origin, and this can be minus 0.25. Frame count. The rest of this looks fine. I don't think we need much fancier stuff than that for now. Also, yeah, I mean, we can make it so if you hold a knife out, you have faster movement speed. I don't know. Here's a novel idea. A character directed to heavy weapons. You could call him heavy weaponry man. You mean steroids? Rocket launcher. Oh, we could also add, stuff like spread. That could be something in here. I've just come up with something random for now. I'll put something here. I'll change this to shot interval, shot speed, shot speed? Bullet speed, I should call this, I think. Bullet speed, shooting interval. Shooting interval. Yeah. Hang on, where's my character? I think it's predicted. Let's see, so the Uzi should actually be shooting every 50 milliseconds. The mass is made up, 5 kilograms. Fine. Doesn't mean anything right now. And I'm going to remove this stuff from the player, so shot interval, shot speed. You're looking at this code and realize what you started when you need a hefty refactor to scale better. Your junior's code. Anyway, X origin for the rocket launcher can be in a bit, and your width is actually 32. Your spread. We should actually look at how the spread should work. So we've got, is it weapon system or somewhere else? No, it's not here. Action responder system, maybe. Spread. Random spread. So in reality, we need to work out a nice way to deal with this. Should the weapon itself have a random spread on it? That seems kind of expensive. Maybe it's fine. How do I scale this? I suppose I could just scale whatever this random spread produces. So this multiplier here, I could remove that and then somehow turn this... I don't want to clamp it, because then it means that mostly you'll be shooting at the edges of your spread. This should be a spread percentage, I think. To do. Refactor this to spread percentage. So the idea being that this spread will calculate... let's go into paint. You've got your player, they're shooting to the right. This random number should give you somewhere in this area. So this would be 100%. This would be minus 100%. This would be 0%. And then the weapon could have a modifier saying how you use this. So if the weapon spread is actually like this, then 100 gets squished into here, and minus 100 gets squished into here. If the weapon spread is like this, then 100's there, minus 100 is there. You get the idea? I'm sure there's a really trivial maths way to do this. I just need to think about it. But this number here, however I store this angle will be stored on the enemy. I think it's this 0.005f thing, but it's kind of hard to understand what that means. I think it means, so we're using radians, so pi is half a rotation, I believe. And by multiplying that by 0.05, we're getting 5% spread, I think. Scalar value like point and angle. It is a scalar, yes, we're making a scalar. But the way that I generate the random number is this member object, which I don't really want to recreate constantly. I'd rather every single weapon uses the exact same RNG function, but then the way I reuse the output of that RNG function changes. So I want to extract this 0.05f thing. Now we get a random spread between entire top and the center. And now I want to scale this towards the middle. RNG, 0.05. But this could be easier to read, maybe. Spread percent, maybe. You know, like spread angle. You know? This is intuitively a little hard for me to understand. Like, I can say the rocket launcher is meant to spread 0.0125. It's kind of hard to read, whereas if this was like an angle, you could say that the spread on the Uzi is meant to be like 30 degrees. And the spread on this is meant to be like 5 degrees. Like a range, and you generate values within the range. Well, like what I just described, where the RNG function would provide... RNG would provide where within this, if you had 100% spread, where within this angle you'd be, and then I simply compress the value of that towards 0 and against the weapon's angle. So if the weapon's spread is meant to be 0.25 max or 0.125, I compress this value from this range into there. So if it generates a value of here, that's about halfway, it would actually get squished into here, because that's halfway between red and 0. Or if it's halfway and I want to be the orange spread, it would crush it down to here. So I think that's pretty easy, right? I've got this. The RNG function provides this value. This is actually max spread. So I need to turn that 100% and we end up here. You get me? So we plug that in. RNG says, all right, 50% spread, positive. Okay, we need to crush that between here. So perhaps I simply use a percentage between, maybe I actually generate an RNG value between minus 100 to 100. Scaled around the middle, and then I move this high floaty stuff. I multiply it by this, Sorry, I divide it by 100 and multiply it by this, maybe. Right? Does make it a little expensive. Because right now we're not doing any divisions. We're just using the spread generated directly. I should probably just stick to radians, right? So this was what, like 0.025 or something. This can be 0.015. I think that's not too stupid. Let me think. It should be called weapons. Weapon type predicted. Weapon type rocket. Well, really the weapon type is still predicted, like it still aims towards where you are. We should have a bullet type. Or even, like, we check that it's a rocket launcher. Oh, this should be weapon type. I just name. Yeah, I guess we should have a name and a type, right? Oh, I guess we already had weapon type, huh? Instead of weapon type predicted, maybe it should be aim type. Aim calculation. Yeah. We're gonna refactor stuff. We're gonna have aim type predicted and weapon type Uzi. The idea being that if we want to localize, we just localize the name, but then we still have like an internal name. Maybe it's become small billet. Because we should probably also have a bullets.json, maybe. Anyway, let's go to our... It's not asset manager, is it? Why do I have the big JSON? Oh, it is here. Oh, this is a hassle. I need to come up with a deserializable version of that. Load character. Let's go with load enemy data for now. Just copy this. We're going to call it load weapon data. Weapon. Key is weapons, and we pass. And then we just need to grab all this stuff. These should all be something. Oops. Do I normally use floats and stuff? Floats, size T's, and strings. I'm guessing types are also strings, and then we pass them, right? Yeah. Anything here in int, frame rate and stuff? Those should be size T, maybe? Frame rate? Oh, frame rate should be a float. That makes sense. And count should be a size T. As should the sprite stuff. This makes sense to me. Now what we need to do, copy this. Did I really go through the effort of renaming this stuff? I didn't, thank God. I like eggs. Yeah. I do. I'm being stupid. Why am I doing it like this? Can anyone explain it? There we go. I thought there was a way to adjust the capitalization of the thing you're currently holding. Ah, whatever. Maybe this would be a valid place to not use brackets. Don't know. Not pass int? Pass real? Pass number. Okay. And what's the other one? Still just pass number. Really? Oh, that would have made this a lot easier if I'd realized that. Type. Hello, Deb. Eh, fuck it. What's this art? Oh shit! I've had MS Paint on the screen the whole time. No one pointed this out. I was explaining how I wanted to work on having weapon spread. Cat, you've outed yourselves. None of you are actually watching this stream. That must have been on stream for like 5 minutes. You're talking to the boss. Yeah. Can't believe it. I had MS Paint on screen for the whole time. You didn't miss anything. I've just been doing a lot of work. Oh well. Let's see. I've just been... I don't even know if you've seen this. I've just been writing the enemy data parser. You were invested in Paint. No.
Hello, I am here to look at the screen.
Hang on a moment. Why am I not storing... Why am I constructing this thing here when I've got a perfectly good struct for it? Your background sound, yeah, but you'll switch back periodically. No, you leave the background sound. It's fine. It's fine. You don't need to look at the screen. Thanks, Donut, for the 81 months. Oh. Why am I doing it like this? Am I dense? Well, I guess some stuff's not exactly the same. Maybe it's fine. Maybe it's fine. It's a little stupid. Anyway. Eh? Oh, fuck this. Home key. My keyboard doesn't have a home key. So, good tip. I'm well aware of home key. I have a gaming keyboard because I'm a gamer. I think there is a way to do it on a function row, but I don't know which one it is. It's probably like function delete, but you can't hold all those keys at the same time. It doesn't work. Oh, weapon datas probably have an animation, huh? ID is not being used. What's the point of having an ID? Why did I use all these different, like, tensors, cases, and stuff? That's really stupid. That was stupid. Whatever. Oh, you do a static cast. Double. So X origin is a float. Spread is a float. This could have been a little bit nicer. Frame rate is shooting interval, bullet speed, and mass. And the other stuff, I guess, you just cast as size T? Yeah. Aye. Get out of here. You'll have to have a convenient shortcut for it. Can't be asked. Sure, but meh. Alright, just flip then. Why would you duplicate it? Huh? Okay, what's wrong now? Let's try building. You know, better than your real home and end keys. I probably don't need to store frame rate and frame count was my thought. Yeah. Just take a tea leaf. Yikes. What? Is that a warning? Well, yeah, okay. Yeah, where are you being called from? Probably should do this first in case I want to give enemies weapons. I'm excited for lunch later. We might go out for ramen or something. These days you're apprehensive for getting any ADHD because I have everything except at home and end for some reason. Do what you want, buddy. I think the Wooting's the best keyboard I've ever owned. You could always rebind it. That's the whole thing with Wooting, right? They have very easy software tools for rebinding. Like, are you really using print screen and pause? Just replace that with home and end. Job done. I should probably do that. I don't use pause and print screen. It's like 2 seconds in their software. Duckies are fine. My duckies always had like over time, always had a bouncing issue, a debounce issue, maybe. Bouncing on it, crazy style, Dio. Do they add like a fucking 7 hertz fuzz to this song? Don't like it too much. Uzi and rocket launcher can go. Oof. So, oh dear. If we go to our components, I think a weapon should have a weapon type. Finally. I'm guessing this is loaded from a different place. So we can also move the shoot interval and shot speed and stuff into here. Where am I making this? Here. This I'm gonna rename. Yeah, obviously search. You should become aim type. Why atomic int? What? Okay. Reflection, where are you? Moved up at V3. Oh yeah. And when are you releasing this? More if you can think of a good name. Nah. No good name exists. Just call it libdonut. What do you mean template parameter is defined here? Sorry, you can't have an array of view to size t? Why not? Do I have to use... Do I have to pass in t? What's the template syntax? C++ templates. What do you expect it to do? I want it to generate, instead of having 4 different functions that all do the exact same thing to iterate through basically identical looking sets, I'd rather have one function to iterate over any type of set, assuming that the array that's holding it is an array of string view towards a size t. This feels like it should be really easy to do with generics. Template size t and use n. Like that. I should only put it on the same line. Unknown n. Usually do separate lines. I'm just reading the website on the side. Geeks for Geeks. I don't know about that one. Okay to return a size t. Definition has to be in the header for templates. This is the header. Okay, it just can't return an n, I guess. No definition though. Well, the definition, this stuff has to be in there, that's what you mean. Sorry. I guess that's the declaration. That's okay. This is fine. I don't mind having this in the header. This is not going to change ever. I feel like there should be an easier way to template this stuff out or macro this stuff out. Generates less code. I'm kind of hungry. I'm happy enough with this solution. You just have to change standard array tn to standard span t and remove the template part. Okay, I'll give it a go. Let's have a look. So I just move this stuff back. Move it here. You just change the standard array to standard span and remove the template part. What? Go? What do you mean remove the template part? Isn't that the whole point? N doesn't need to be specified. You sure? This looks kind of weird. Undeclared identifier. Are you sure we don't need to specify that it's a template? As in remove comma n. Oh. Alright. Interesting. How does span work? I always hear that we should be using span more and more. Is it like a view onto an array? Like a span of memory? An array view, basically. Pretty sensible. Why are you saving like that? Speaking of read-only, you should probably do standard span const t because you're not modifying it. And this language just has an infinite number of random things you can waste your time on. Like this. String view, obviously, that's why you wrote that opposite. If you write something 0 times, you won't know what it is. If you've written something 4,000 times, it seems obvious. Instead of sprite dot rocket launcher, we do weapon dot sprite. Oh, I would have to get. We'll do that in a moment. Oh, actually, maybe not. When we're doing enemy drawing, how would we get the enemies? Sprite. I suppose we have to do. We use all enemy data somewhere. want to capture the idea that the thing in the span should be const rather than the span itself, which is different for how it's normally done, since span is non-owning, and the constness of the template argument controls the constness of the thing being pointed to. Yeah, I guess we don't want to accidentally modify the thing within. That does make sense to me. Stage system. Well, this isn't being used. Oh, here's the stage system. Interesting, it does exist. Or we should just remove it. And if we end up using this to spawn in bosses or something, I don't know. Similar to how const can be in two places when you declare a pointer, t star const or const t star. The idea being that it's either the pointer that's const or the thing that you're being pointing to. Have we gone to C++? Do you think you're too rust-pilled now? I think that's fine. See no problem with that. I don't think you need the woho prefix, do you? See, this shouldn't crash. It is laggy as fuck though. Why is it so laggy? I guess it's retrieving something every frame that it shouldn't be. No? Oh, it's when it tries to shoot a bullet. Okay. That's fine. We can fix that. I kind of need to wait. Maybe I can wait. You're at your intro to AI course project in Rust using Raylib. It was a Connect 4 project using A star and other fun algorithms to search for wins. Oh, that's cool. A star. Interesting. Let me think for just a second. There's a few things we're not doing. In the render actor system, origin should be weapon dot. Oh, sorry. X origin. Alpha Beta, which is basically A-star with pruning? No. Sounds cool. This will make it shoot insane, crazy style. Fail. I'm just making some shit up. This obviously isn't efficient or good. I'm just experimenting with things. Whatever. Anyway, when we're shooting, something's going wrong. There's a few things that could be that could be. Hang on, in the asset manager, we didn't get rid of the got stuff off player, did we? Load, Carrick. Get rid of these. Good. This is one of those problems. Here we go. Weapon type. Oh, actually, the player doesn't need a weapon. They haven't picked one up yet. Let's just give them a rocket launcher for now. Hmm. I've forgotten something somewhere. Why are these 3 different loops? Can we not just do that? I feel like more stuff should be in this weapon system. Like, we should extract stuff that's in the enemy system and the player system. Certainly. I'll fix that lag. I don't seem to be shooting bullets anymore. I mean, if the mass is only being used for the offset, I think that's fine. They're distinct types. I mean, this clearly still works, right? Or no? Are they distinct types? They all extend over weapon. Is that... you can't do that in C++. You have to do that. Use GitHub, Git issues and... at work we use Git. My last job we used Jira. Yeah, we used Bitbucket. But we use like Microsoft's TFS solutions of Jira. We have Agile, but we're not really sticking to it. Entity filters based on concrete ID. That explains why we have to have 3 different loops for the same thing. Okay. Oh, weapon shot interval is 0. We're not setting the weapon shot interval, I think. I think that's correct. Shot interval shouldn't even be stored here then. I think that's part of weapon data. In a moment. So you have shot interval, and you have bullet speed. IMO, the weapon should have stuff like timers and dynamic things on it, but information like data should be stored in weapon data, which is accessed via this single byte. Well, I mean, weapon type is actually whatever this enum is defaulting to. Size T or something. Int. Regardless, the defined stuff that all rocket launchers have are now stored in weapon data rather than on the weapon itself. So this all actually looks pretty fucking nice now, doesn't it? Anyway, this should break stuff, and this should help us fix our bug. Because currently I think it's spawning stuff with the cooldown as 0. Does seem like good design, right? Data stores concrete information, and the component here stores dynamic information. So shared things don't duplicate information. Enemy data weapon shot interval. Should the enemies have guns? I'm gonna have a wee. Think about this for a minute. Fucking muted. Shoot me now. Ah, I have to re-explain. Oh god, I'm a shit streamer. Sorry. I was just saying. I was discussing whether or not enemies should have weapons or not, and I decided that they should. Oh, fuck me. I think I basically said like enemies with like melee weapons and stuff. It might be a little interesting that like a scorpion's claws are a weapon that they equip, but technically that's true, right? It would just be passed differently. Instead of bullet type being homing, it would be melee or something, and that would have a different system. And maybe we even split from weapon types to like projectiles and melees and whatever, and then those would have different systems. Basically, my point was like enemies could like pick up a rocket launcher and shoot at you, but it might be a bit threatening if you have constant guns being shot at you. And like maybe most enemy weapons won't have a sprite, so there's nothing to draw because it's just on their model or something. But then again, maybe enemies can have little guns. I don't know. I think intuitively it kind of makes sense for enemies to have the same weapon system as players. I kind of like it when games are like that. Like, so many shared systems, it's kind of cool. This might be a lot of clutter on the screen, you know? But then again, I guess the enemy weapon doesn't actually have to be pointed at the player. But it also means we'd have to calculate all the stuff like position and offset and stuff for the enemy as well. Which is probably fine. This was not what I thought I was going to do when I said I was going to make a rocket launcher, by the way. We need more text on the screen. I'm just talking. I'm just talking. I'm not writing anything. And if we just keep information on the enemy themselves, it means that every enemy has its own unique thing without splitting up unnecessarily, because it might be the case that every enemy has their own weapon, at which point that data might as well just be on the enemy. I'm conflicted. Maybe some enemies would share a weapon, but their movement would be different. It'd be kind of cool if it's the same weapons the player's using. And then as you play through the game, they start to get bigger and bigger guns. It does make the game a little bit more threatening, though. If a minion suddenly starts shooting you with a heavy crossbow. Also, I've only got like half an hour left or something to work on this. So I'm just going to very quickly doodle something. Ace Bright, fix yourself. 16 by 16. You can see Ace Bright, right? Yeah. Looks a little revolvery, right? Looks alright. I want the idea that the enemies maybe are holding like a big revolver. Looks like a revolver, right? That's very revolvery. This'll do. Revolver. Bright speed run. Yeah. It's not too difficult when you've done it quite a lot. Blank. That's basically all you need to be able to add a new gun, by the way. Now we've set up the system, it's actually pretty easy. We go to our enemy system now. We can see our enemy data had a weapon information. We can remove that. And the weapon type. Saying hi, but we have to go assist in trans support group stuff. Best of luck, bestie. Do you want to play gaming someday? Give us a yell. I wish you the best of luck. Get out there and support. Medic. This music's really nice. This shit's definitely copyright strikes. This isn't Toho anymore. Well, if this VOD gets muted, that's YouTube Music's fault. Very good. What's this from? Go to artist. They just got a lot of viewers. Maybe getting a coding stream in Vim. I mean, it wouldn't be that different in Vim, would it? Let's skip over to a Toho song. Well, this isn't too bad. You can even play poker. Ooh. Up and woke. Your electron is bloat. Electron is bloat. I hate it. Look at this. To add a weapon, you just give it a weapon type. Like this. Isn't that really cool? Like, to add a weapon to something, you just say, give it a revolver. And it just works. Ideally. I haven't written the bit where it works yet. But that's the idea, at least. You just say, here's a revolver. They shoot predictably. They shoot where you're moving to, if that makes sense. You skateboard and smoke weed, you're a real stereotype. You haven't tried psychedelics yet. Even though mushrooms are meant to be, something, I don't know. You hate Electronics FOVS code, it's great now. You've been in Vivid Emacs addict for 2 years. You're wise beyond your years, buddy. Have you seen the video about salvia that makes you think you're a tree? I've heard about it. You said you'd want to live 2 decades in the span of 6 hours. Yeah, it's crazy how much of your brain's just chemicals running around and how fucking around with the chemicals fucks around with your perception of life. Me, for one, I'm sticking to the good stuff. Imperial vodka by the liter. It's gonna be 3 years this September because you fully switched to Emacs and never went back. Must be crazy in the job interview and they pull you up to an IDE and you're like, where's the terminal, bud? And then you just start typing away. Ah. Anyone else here really like Toho Project? Just me. Just be me. IG, on a more productive note, you're getting really into mixology. Like an alchemist or a chemist or a cocktailing. Because I was pretty into cocktailing when I was about your age. Yeah, so I got myself a swizzle stick. All that good stuff. This music's lovely. Thank you, Lo-Fi Synthwave, Prism River Orchestra. Got a Yuyuko keychain? Buddy, that's based as fuck. Oh, we're good. There's hope for you all. Fine. Hey, Basil. We've been getting really into cocktail making, but also juices, smoothies, and mocktails. That's awesome. I really like mixology stuff. I've been drinking a lot less recently, so I've not been doing it a whole lot. But I think I should get back into mocktails. I've got a whole book on this stuff, like alcohol-free stuff. It's good fun, right? You're making something beautiful and delicious. It's like software, but you can drink it. I mean, you could drink your software, I guess. You heated it up enough. Something terrible truly ticks you off is how terrible the default keybinds of Emacs are. You need Vim keybinds. Evil mode is the only way. We are winning, Bowser. How about you? I'm making something beautiful. You thrifted a $1 bartending book with like 1,000 cocktail recipes. Fuck yeah. Sorry, what's wrong here? Why do you think it's a standard ratio? You're afloat. What kind of sandwich? Tom Bowser from Twitch.television. What? What kind of sandwich? Oh, nice. Sandwich for lunch. I'm really hungry. I've not eaten yet. Where's my Toho music I just asked for? Thank you. Anything you see you can make, you give a try. Hell yeah. Have you been making all sorts of simple syrups and sugars and like... Oh, what's... Is it pomegranate juice? You use it in a bunch of recipes. There's some stupid name for it in mixology. Mix syrups if you can. Grenadine, yeah. Grenadine's so nice. Did you get a bunch of those little glass vials that you can make them and then store them? Mozzarella, pesto, and tomato sandwich. Fuck, that sounds good. Sorry, I'm a little confused why this is a problem. This is a float, right? Sorry, I'm lost. Action responder system. Weapon.shoot interval. It should be the same. Maybe it's an issue elsewhere? Oh, you might have to do time float duration. Sorry, I missed that. Was it a duration on an enemy before? Where was I storing this information? Maybe asset manager. How was I doing this previously? Ah, it was a time shoot interval. That should probably stay as a time, right? Hang on, should it? Come to London by your sandwich. Hell yeah. You save old liquor bottles to put syrups in. Oh yeah. May as well. Okay. Easy enough. Savia Trip Resort lived 15 years as a ceiling fan. Isn't that like a Black Mirror episode? Not the ceiling fan part. This handle weapon shit should abso-fucking-lutely be shared with the player. This is ridiculous. We're starting to come to the point where, like, we've split from a Toho-like, where the player shoots completely different to the enemies, to, like, a really generic game where it's just a gun that shoots at something. Which is cool, but it also means we're going to have to re-practice some stuff. And admittedly, this stuff should have already been... should have thought ahead, but it was fine for the time. Aye, you need an asset manager as well, don't you? Should move this pathing stuff out. What game engine are we using? We're not using a game engine. But we're using a framework provided by Donut to handle some wrapping around drawing and looping and stuff. But this is just pure old C++. Please stop giving me non-Toho music. This YouTube music thing has not been the boon I was hoping for. Normally when you just use YouTube mixes, it would at least stick to like the genre you asked it for. We need to construct a time here. Like that. This music's nice. Good old Hellozy, dude. A free friend slop game, you can recommend cheese rolling. I saw you playing it the other day. A revolver appears to be a rocket launcher. Oh, the enemy's guns are pointing at... That's so funny. Look, the enemy, they do have a revolver. See? I'm surprised at how well that worked by default. It's so funny that it's pointed at the player. Because until now, only the players had all these components tied to them. Alright, shooting is clearly not working. I could shoot once, and then it never got reset. Look at it go. ECS magic at work. It's so funny. The revolver looks pretty good. For something I drew in like 2 minutes. Maybe I'm getting pretty good at pixel art. I don't know. This rocket launcher didn't take that long either. a nice looking revolver. He's trying to shoot it. Is this duration thing not working? Don't know. This should work, right? We're constructing time float with shooting interval. Why did my breakpoint do this? That part should work at least. Maybe 1,000 is just way too big. Maybe it needs to be more like 10. No, it still only lets you shoot once. Why is that? Is it because it's being stored on the weapon? Oh no, it's just really slow. Hang on. Wait, why is it like this? The weapon I was storing... Wait, why is it like that? Hang on. The shot interval was a number like this before. It's in seconds. I was... 10-second shot interval is long. Hang on a moment. Was I not storing shot interval like this before? I was storing it as MS, don't I? Oh, is that the problem? I just need to pass it as MS. Maybe you were multiplying it by blah 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 earlier to treat it as milliseconds. Asset manager. I love hellos, you guys. So we were storing it as milliseconds. And then, for example, in the action responder system, we'll be dividing it maybe. We weren't dividing it or multiplying it. I think this is why I was confused about that, because I just basically did an in-place change. I think the constructor might just be wrong, maybe. How was I constructing this previously? Probably in Entity Factory. Yeah, here we go. It's this. Easy game. My rockets. Alright, I think 10 might be a bit quick. Let's actually make you a second, and let's make you a second as well. Shouldn't be vibrating this often. We'll actually tie the like vibration to like the weapon shot speed. As for why the mouse is shooting these huge fucking bullets, I'm not... Wait, what happened there? Not really sure. Something threatening about these mice having guns. Oh, hang on, this rocket shoots like really weirdly. I think it's something else we're not multiplying. Or is this just really slow? I feel like it shouldn't be shooting like this. Maybe bullet speed 7 is too slow? No, it shouldn't be. I think. Actually, what was the character shot speed like? Oh, it was quite a bit faster. Maybe 25 is it? Yeah. Where am I deciding what sprite to draw with a bullet? I actually don't remember. Like, why is the mice drawing such a big sprite for the bullet? Oh, it's not. It's not in render actor system? Oh, maybe it's when we're spawning it. Weapon system. No, it'll be an enemy system bullet. It's not in here? Interesting. How on earth are we drawing these? This fresh hell is unused and related to gun shoot from gun, not given out of hot oven, out of hot shoot the gun. Okay. Great comment. Who wrote that one? The shit's not being used, right? Gaslighting's not real. Ah, it's based on the radius. Ooh. That makes sense. I was thinking, is it based on the radius? I'm very smart for doing that. Not useful anymore, because the gun should have its own bullet tied to it. But still. Oh, we just need to go into weapon system, or weapon JSON. Oh, we aren't storing it in here. Oh, action responder system. To do extract, alright. If I make this bigger then the rocket launcher will shoot a bigger bullet, I guess. You can't actually see it. Great. Well, whatever. Let's just do this. Why is it like this? You're back to front. This should be the other way. The bigger radius should have the bigger bullets. Am I really stupid? Who wrote this? Me. Stop putting fucking copyright music in my playlist. YouTube.com fucking /watch question mark. I don't need to listen to Toho lullabies. I'm gonna fall asleep. There must be a fucking way to like force it to only give you music that's not gonna get you copyright striked. Let's just do it like this. Doesn't really matter. We're gonna refactor this. I just want something cheap and cheerful. Holy shit, look at the rocket go. Those mice are really attacking me. Oh! That's new. Oh. Are we not checking if the target's null? Oh, that's pretty stupid. Pretty stupid. Thank God. We should put this in here. Then it would have crashed. In fact, it should still crash, right? Oops. So when I die, might take a minute. Okay, it didn't. Oh, it just crashed. Good. Oh, Ox. This is nice. That's a very good crash. Just here we go. So move to target entity. What we should do is just say, I think in here is even fine. Where are all the places we're using that? We should be doing more null checks on this. Interesting that this didn't get set off. Crash early and often, it's easier to fix an early crash. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hang on a moment. Yeah, if we're in any of these states, we should move back to idle. I think at the start of thinking, think. What do we do in third line of sight? We break. We're in check line of sight. Hang on, why does player position still exist? That's surprising. So we have a player on this tick, but the entity's target is null pointer. That's really weird. Okay. That's when they switch, and then think. I guess really it only matters in these two places. Yeah, this is fun. I thought some way we were defaulting to like a slightly larger resolution. Did the player not have a health thing? I thought they did. It's alright, we died pretty quick. Oh, it still crashed. Okay. Oh. Even worse. Okay. Wait, what? Target entity is not null pointer. Oh, we're just not doing a null pointer check on this transform here. Oh. Hang on, that's really stupid of me. I got the error wrong in my head. Somehow they still have a target, but the target doesn't have a transform anymore. That's bizarre. The enemies having fast guns is ridiculous, by the way, because it means you literally can't evade them. Like, they just shoot... They shoot at you. Very well. Alright, I fixed that crash. Oh, the rocket's not actually shooting where I want it to. Something's wrong. Maybe this is an issue to fix next time. Forgot about this thing. The leaderboard. I'm surprised this shit still works. It just takes you to the leaderboard. Character Robot Girl. Man, this shit just works, huh? Alright, anyway, I'm gonna head off now. I've got to go somewhere soon. We'll work on this all next time. We've got all sorts to do. But I'm gonna head off now. We can continue with the rocket launcher and stuff next time. But I think we made a good start, right? Good 3 hours of work today. We refactored the weapon system. That's now stored in a JSON. Enemies now have weapons too. And the enemies, like they move directly at you if they see you. They use A star if they don't see you. So they'll actually path around to try and find you. But then once they actually see you, they'll move straight at you. Kind of nice. God, they just shoot. They just snipe you, don't they? We need to fix a few things, but I'll write notes on that. For now, thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time. Bye-bye. Good night. See ya.